Hello, you awesome human being and intergalactic being wherever you are. My name is David J.P. Phillips. I am back with a man who truly deserves this epithet. The man, the myth, the legend, and the phenomenon. Keanu Reeves.
He is the one.
God, I can't help to love this man. And there is a similar feeling all over the world, all over the internet, I should say. He seems like the internet love boy to many people, men and women. Why? Why has that happened, and how has that happened? Where did it come from? Coming from the Matrix, absolutely. The John Wick series, definitely. He's an amazing actor. He's a really good public speaker. There is one element that has made this possible. And that element I can give to you. And you can use that element in your life, and it'll increase your leadership skills, your sales skills, your marketing skills, your communication skills, your friend skills, your spouse skills. Every single human ability evolves from this particular core skill that he has. At the very foundation of this core is storytelling. In my TED talk on storytelling, I spoke about 200 random objects which were purchased from eBay, and by adding a story to them, the value was increased by 6,000%. When Michael Jackson's red Thriller jacket was sold at an auction, it cost $1.5 million, while a similar red leather jacket at a thrift shop maybe would catch, I don't know, $50? How can there be such a difference? 1.5 million, $50? Because Michael Jackson is a story to you, attach that story to an object and its value increases. Stories increase objects' values. And the same thing is for you. The stories attached to you as a human being increases or decreases your value in the eyes of others. That's where we come into Keanu Reeves. The story about Keanu Reeves is where it all starts and builds up into the core, the element that I want to give you. So let's have a look at the story of Keanu Reeves. In this image, he's 13 years old. And his life begins sadly, because this is the year that apparently his father leaves him and the family. A little bit later on in his life, his child is stillborn, as was one of my children. So I truly feel with him. Within 18 months of the child being stillborn, he loses his wife. And there are way more tragic stories to his background coming from that. We feel so much empathy for people coming from that perspective. So much empathy. Empathy comes from a neurochemical or a neuropeptide called oxytocin. And when we feel that for another human being, we want to bond with them. We want to come closer to them. We want to love them. We want to take care of them. Anyone we feel empathy for creates oxytocin, and we want to bond with them. So that's kind of core in life, isn't it? Don't you want people to bond with you? Maybe friends, maybe family, maybe colleagues, maybe customers. You want them to bond with you. Key core is empathy. So the stories here come and build up empathy for Keanu Reeves. Now, secondly, let's move into his career and the way he's behaved during his career. Just listen to these facts. Whilst filming The Matrix, he gave a Harley-Davidson motorcycle to all 12 avatars which were part in recording the Matrix movie. How insane is that? But it goes even more insane. He earned $70 million on The Matrix. 70 million. He took 50 million of that and gave that to the people behind the scenes. Not only is his background story super empathetic, but his character is insanely humble and somebody we look up to. Think if human mankind was like Keanu Reeves. Wars would end. Fights would end. Capitalism would end. He doesn't drive fancy cars. He doesn't drive fancy motorcycles. He doesn't have a fancy life. He doesn't show off money. He doesn't go around in gold chains showing, hey, I've got 300 millions because that apparently is what he's worth. No. And to add to that, I just want to show you this video as well. No fancy cars, no fancy he's on the subway. Have a look at this. What a gentleman, eh? Have a look at this. What's going to happen? How humble, how beautiful, how human is that? What we concluded so far, he comes from the past where we feel empathy for him. We come to his career and his future and his presence where we feel for his character so much. He is so humble even though he has so much, and that we can so relate to. And there are So many stories like this about Keanu Reeves. And I want to give you an insight into his perspective on life. Damn, I forgot it again. Not always, but I so often forget to write down the name of the person that I'm reacting to. So here we go. Keanu Reeves! Let's have a look at his perspective on life. How many people haven't been asked this question, what happens when we die? Well, this is his answer.
What do you think happens when we die, Keanu Reeves?
I know that the ones who love us will miss us.
Keanu Reeves is so incredible. It's a story to us, and that story is attached to him as a human being, and that makes us love him. Now, what you can learn from that is this: whenever in life you want to elevate the perception of you, behave as Keanu Reeves. The world would be a better place if we did. Now let's move on to a speech of Keanu Reeves. Cyberpunk, which is now released and has to be used and downloaded and played.
How's it going? Hello, Los Angeles!
Check that out. He's just walked out on stage, and the way that he's standing and the way he's holding his arm. So number 33 in the 110 steps model is a confident posture. His feet are wide apart, hips are level, shoulders are level. His entire posture is confident. So he's applying number 33. Number 34 is neutral position. And that means that his hands are relaxed by his sides. Some people can hide away and do these things, the double bunny, right bunny, left bunny, and forklift and all that. He doesn't, just relaxes his arms by the sides. Very, very, very good. First functional gesture, which is number 44, where he shows the palms of his hands, shows that he is welcoming them, a non-threat, for instance.
Yeah.
Nods.
All right. Good to see you. Thank you.
Nods and smiles. Good.
All right.
A gesture to ask them to calm down, functional gesture again. This is called a regulator. It means that you want to communicate with your audience, maybe go shh, maybe do. These are regulators. It means that you want to communicate with your audience.
I gotta talk to you about something.
It doesn't matter what he's going to say, he's Keanu Reeves.
All right. A while back, the guys from CD Projekt Red approached
Listen to this. This is a brilliant sales technique that he's going to use now.
Cyberpunk 2077. They were going on and on about how they'd create this vast open world with a branching storyline.
So instead of saying how brilliant Cyberpunk 2077 is to you, the features and the specs of it, he says that somebody convinced him that it was amazing. And by so, it's an indirect persuasion technique. And the way he uses his voice as well, that is so perfectly synchronized.
Be able to customize your character through in-game choices. And it's not something I knew before, but I was excited by. And I'm always drawn to fascinating stories.
He is.
Cyberpunk.
Did you see that? Boom! That is called a vertical movement shift. Number 67 out of the 110. Now we tend to do this when we're engaged in something. We go down vertically and we want to grow strength so that we can jump up and say it. Exactly what he's doing at this point of time. Very nicely executed.
Is set in a metropolis of the future, where body modification
Changes melody.
an obsession. You play as an outlaw, an enhanced mercenary working in this.
He just uses his hands whenever he needs to gesture, and as soon as he's done that, he goes down to neutral position. Up gesture, down, up gesture, down. Brilliantly executed. Very few public speakers are skilled at this.
Sleazy underbelly of the city. Yeah. Okay, but let me tell you, the feeling of being
Self-laughter and amplifying head movements.
there, of walking the streets of the future, is really going to be breathtaking. You're breathtaking.
You're breathtaking! His interaction with the audience is superb. Good gestures, good facial expressions, really good voice. A bit nervous in the beginning, but after a while he got relaxed and he got into it. Let's have a look at one more clip from the Graham Norton show where we truly see his use of functional gestures, facial expressions and voice, and one point of beautiful synchronization.
I mean, that just makes me laugh right there. I mean, like, what happened to these guys? But there's a cool story. Basically, they're supposed to write a song to save the world, and they haven't done that. So the pressure of having to save the world, you know, their marriages are falling apart, their kids are kind of mad at them, but then someone comes from the future and tells them if they don't write the song, it's just not the world now, it's the universe. And so they have to save the universe because time is...
Time! Did you see that? That is beautiful execution of the 5 layers of synchronicity. The words, his voice, his facial expressions, his gestures, and his body language. Boom, everything was synchronized in that moment. When we see people do that, we automatically believe practically everything that they say. We love them because they seem so transparent, and that's it, my friend. That is where Keanu Reeves comes from. He comes from a sad story as we know it, which builds empathy for him. His character is the most humble you can come across. If human beings could copy that behavior, we would have a better planet. And then thirdly, he's synchronized when he communicates, which means that he's transparent and we trust what he says. Now finally, I want to say this. That everything that you learn from me, sooner or later, you will realize that there's a difference between knowing the path and walking the path. Get down and exercise and practice. Over and out.